We look down at pocket queens in the big blind. UTG, a good friend of mine, opens the pot to $25. UTG+1 calls, then small blind raises it to $100. I thought of 4-betting to $300, but we need to be a little bit careful here against the UTG opener. I know calling is a little bit weak, but with our position, we can't get too crazy. So we call the $100 raise, then UTG calls $100. Now at this point, we can assign middle pairs and sometimes ace-king to his range. Then UTG+1 snap 5-bet all in for $470. This guy is stuck in the game for over $3,000 and he just lost his mind in the session. He has been shoving and raising with just about any two cards. This shove is of course any two cards. Not a problem at all. Then the small blind, of course, pot committed. He goes all in for $275. Now we are facing two all-in bets and UTG behind us that is yet to act. What do we do now? We can call UTG+1 any day, even today. But what about the small blind? He is a standard player. His 3-bet of $100 could easily be queens plus, sometimes ace-king. But because of UTG+1's current tilt state, his range could be wider. From my experience, when there's a maniac on the table, ranges gets wider as players tends to protect more hands in their range from a maniac. So he could be 3-betting with ace-king, jacks plus. Versus that range, we are most likely flipping. UTG+1 shoves 470, small blind shoves 275. Do we just call 470 or shove as well? If we just call, we get a side pot of 390, which we will likely win. So that means we are only risking $80 if we get our ass beat by the small blind. Another problem we need to deal with is UTG. He called $100, so that caps his range a little bit to middle pairs like 9s, 10s, jacks, sometimes ace-king. We need to take him off his hand because we can't have too many players into the pot. Either way, call or shove, we are going to give good pot odds to him, about 3-1 on a call. That's pretty damn good, and we may not get him to fold if we just call. Verbally announcing all in, on the other hand, might.
All in. Aces. Oh shit. Woo! He's got nothing.
If in case my buddy discovers this YouTube video, I would like to say again that I apologize for forcing him to fold. He folded pocket kings. He respected my nit image that I'm only shoving with aces. I just can't fold queens to the guy on tilt. So again, I sorry. Looking back, I think I figured out why the UTG just flatted the 3-bet. I think it's because he anticipated that UTG+1 will shove all in with any two cards. So he was kind of trapping UTG+1. So I kind of get that, but it backfired because I'm not folding to the maniac. This hand happened about a couple of hours prior to the pocket queens incident. We have red pocket kings in the big blind. MP1, the guy who has lost his mind in the pocket queen's hand, stuck in the game for over 3,000, he is practically giving money away. He opened limp in MP1, button a standard player limps, SB, a knit completes. Then of course we bump it up to $40. All three limpers call. Getting calls like this is expected when there's a tilty guy in the hand. Button and the small blind are calling just because they have a high chance of getting paid by the guy on tilt. We go 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes 5 deuce 10 rainbow. Pretty good bone dry flop for us. There's nothing much out there that can call us, but MP1 is playing any 2 cards, so if he hits anything on this flop, he's likely to call. He has been trying to dig himself out of a hole, but the more he tries, the deeper he gets in the hole. His solution to play any 2 cards is not quite working. I bet $90 into a $160 pot. MP1 calls, of course. Button and the small blind folds. We are heads up to the turn. Turn is the 8 of clubs. This may have improved his range. My opponent has been unpredictable, impulsive, and just plain out of control. I'm not sure what he is going to do if he turns a draw. I do not want to get raised and play for stacks on this spot, so I check and allow him to take a stab at it. The pot size is good enough for me at this point. I'm not greedy. He bets out $100, and of course, we call. The river is the 5 of spades. I check, he checks, I show, he mucks. We take it down. Under the gun, open raise to $15. This player is unknown, so with ace queen offsuit on the button, I just call and take him on post flop. This is the type of hand that I sometimes flat and I sometimes 3-bet. Depends on my mood, probably. The big blind calls and we go 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes 10 jack 8 with a club draw. UTG bets out $35, a pretty value-y type of bet. I call the 35. I know this is technically a bad call, but I'm gambling here. What do you want from me? The big blind folds. We go heads up to the turn. The turn is the king of diamonds. We hit, so can I hear a woot woot? Our clueless, soon to be crushed villain bets out $75 into a $120 pot. His sizing is still leaning towards a value hand, so we definitely need to put in a raise here. How much would you raise? Let me know in the comments below. The pot at this point is $190. I debated between raising below $200 and $250. I picked the lower end of the raise size range. I raised to $185. He took a few seconds, then made the call. Looking back at this hand, I think this is a mistake. The board hits my villain's range pretty hard. He can have a lot of 2-pair hands and sets in this board. I should have went bigger. River is an action killer. The 3 of clubs. I was thinking of how much to bet on the river, but our villain bet out $100. I find the bet out weird. We can't raise here as we are only getting called by a better hand. Whatever, I call and the villain shows ace deuce of clubs. Son of a biscuit. What a costly first date.
join, bro.
If you made it this far in the video, please go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe to get notifications and tell your friends.
Wow.